Joins in, Head of Research and Strategy at Thomas Lloyd. Nick, it's great to have you on the show. Thanks very much for taking out the time. Prime Minister Theresa May faces vote of no confidence, but she's not relenting. It's not like she's giving up her ground.
London, it's going to be a very long day here. Yes, you're absolutely correct. There's going to be a vote of no confidence proposed in Theresa May. That vote will take place from 6 p.m. in London time this evening, and results are going to be expected perhaps sometime around 8:30 or 9 p.m. So it's going to be a long day here.
Yeah, but Nick, what happens next? Because Theresa May has gone on record saying the new Prime Minister would have to delay Brexit if she loses confidence vote, and you know, there is a high possibility of that happening. It just puts things into a bit of a limbo. Do you think that now all efforts are being made to kind of create an environment where Brexit can be dissolved altogether? I mean, it may not happen immediately or in the near term, but you know, factions of the government, the ruling party and the opposition can all come together and kind of move in that direction? Because the EU has clearly stated that they have that option still on the table.
Range of possible outcomes that result from this evening. If we assume that Theresa May stays as Prime Minister, that she either wins the vote of no confidence, then Brexit is still very much on. If, however, that she were to lose that, then, as she and her advisors are saying this morning, then a new Prime Minister would probably have to seek a delay to the March 29th deadline. That delay could perhaps be as long as 6 months. And of course, the longer it is delayed, the more time that gives for the possibility either of a general election or of a revocation of Article 50, or indeed possibly a second referendum on the EU. So the thought process here is that anything that suggests there could be a delay to the Brexit process might be positive for the pound, because it does leave open the door to staying in the European Union. But if Mrs. May were in fact to be successful in the vote this evening, then the other possibilities are that she presses on with Brexit, that we actually do trigger not trigger the article, but we actually go through with the exiting process on March 29th, and from then there's no way back. So there's a whole host of potential outcomes, and that's the reason the markets are so very, very volatile over the course of the last week or so.
Absolutely, there are a whole host of possibilities that could be, finally an outcome of today's big event. But let's just say, let's just assume that Theresa May loses tonight. What would, be the course of action for the new leader then?
Well, first of all, there's the process of electing a new leader, and that could take several weeks. The way in which it works is that the Conservative MPs then decide whether or not to put themselves forward for election. That then follows a whole series of ballots in which the field is reduced to just 2 candidates. So each time, the one who gets least votes is eliminated, until finally we have 2 candidates, and only then, when we have 2 candidates, is the voting opened up to the entire Conservative Party membership in the country. Now, that process is going to take several weeks, and of course we've got the added complication of the Christmas and New Year holidays in the UK. So we're going to have an enormous period of limbo and uncertainty if Mrs. May loses, and it's highly unlikely that one single unifying candidate could be found that would in any way bring some immediate conclusion to that process.
Okay, Nick, we'll leave it at that and wait and watch as to what will be the outcome of today's event. Thanks much for joining in with your perspective.
You're welcome.